Hello, a very good morning to you wherever you are. My name is Benedict Owusu. Welcome to Playmakers here on MX24. And of course, on this show, every Saturday from exactly 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., we look at a big preview, what to expect in the major European leagues with specific attention on the English Premier League. Back home, we look at the trending stories. And of course, today there's something juicy to talk about here on the local scene. We'll be in Kumasi to touch base with Kankam Buedu. Of course, it's about Kumasi, Asante, of course, some crisis there. And then the show, as always, is interactive, so you can get through to us. We'll show you how to do that in the course of the program. My pundit will also join me. We'll look at the arguments, the odds, in terms of the major leagues. And as I mentioned, today is the start of the English Premier League, and we'll be doing some more talk on that. Plus, what to expect here on the local scene, as I mentioned. We'll be in Kumasi to speak to Bright Kankam Buedu. And then it's Lionel Messi, of course, we know he's staying, but how is that going to affect Barcelona in this season's La Liga? All these and more, plus other stories here on Playmakers with me, Benedict Owusu. Don't go away, we are back with more after this short break. All right, thanks so much for staying. It's still here on Playmakers on MX24 with me, Benedict Owusu. And as I mentioned, we have to start here on the local scene from Kumasi. And of course, it's all about Asante Kotoko. They've been trending this week. Well, there were reports that the CEO, Nane Amponsan, as well as the board chairman, that's Dr. Kwame Chei, were considering leaving the club just some few months after Nane Amponsan's appointment as CEO of the club. Well, a lot has gone on. Unfortunately, we have Bright Kankam Buedu, who is head of sports at Pure FM, joining us live via Zoom. Bright, a very good morning to you, and thanks so much for joining me on this maiden edition of Playmakers here on MX24. I mean, yes, a lot have been said about Nane Amponsan as well as Dr. Kwame Chei leaving the club. What's the latest in terms of that?
Well, I tried finding out from the CEO himself, Nane Amponsan, and he tried to, beat down those rumors. But information we are gathering from inside the club is that the board chairman is not happy, the CEO is not happy, and there is even a board member who is not happy. And if I have to be specific, I think Dr. Kofi Aban. He has not been to two of the last board meetings because he feels that the CEO is saying he's more like taking over his job because Dr. Kofi Aban came out to say that he's giving out 2 cars to the Kotoko coach and the Kotoko office, and he felt that should have come from the board. And I think that is where the bone of contention is, especially with regards to the board chairman too, because the board chairman, Dr. Kwame Chei, had been financing the club over the years. We all know that one of the reasons why Menchia decided to keep him was that he had financed the club single-handedly for 3 solid years, and they felt that they could only reward that by keeping him on and making him chair the board. Now, with regards to Nane Amponsan, clearly, from what we are gathering, he has submitted a number of names, as his management. And the board always seems to have a problem with 1 or 2. They are taking out 1. They think that this person is not cut for the job and all that. And I also understand that with regards to the Adekoya project, Nane Amponsan met the engineers, he spoke to them about it, and another board member went behind him, spoke to the engineers too. So now it's more like becoming a conflict in terms of the duties, what everybody is supposed to do, and that is where this conflict is stemming from. And one huge thing that is creating all this conflict is the lack of information coming in from Asante Kotoko. Because you realize that there is a huge communication gap. I mean, apart from the CEO and the secretary working at the office, nobody is working at the Kotoko secretariat. And even with regards to the CEO, he's not at the secretariat as we speak. I mean, even though he started his work, he's doing a lot of meetings here and there. Yesterday, he met Holad. So the communication gap is also creating all this mess because, I mean, genuinely, if you had any questions, you will go to the communications department, ask them, and they will give you the information. But now there is no communications manager because we understand Nane Amponsan has submitted the name, the board is yet to approve it, and all that. So now everybody was thinking this would have been the best Kotoko board because you have a lot of business people who are also serving on other boards. So they will understand the whole work of the board. But Nane Amponsah seems to feel that the board, they are not giving him the free will to operate, and that is where the problem is coming from.
Right. This, of course, is very unhealthy. I mean, he's been in for just some few months, and all these are happening. How are they able to solve this and move forward?
Well, I think the best person to step in will be Chief of Staff of Menchia, who has to step in to quench this fire, because that for how long? I mean, a very short period. CEO who was appointed just a month ago, and we have this conflict at this stage, this early stage. The league is not even in session. I mean, that would have done to the Kotoko team. I mean, the kind of bad press they will get when they are playing football.
Exactly.
And I know that in regards to some of these big teams, it tends to affect them on the field of play. So I'm thinking the Chief of Staff will be the best person who can step in and make, I don't know, but I think the role of everybody is supposed to be cut out, spelled very clearly. The CEO is supposed to report to the board. The board will provide the policy direction of the club.
Okay.
When that is cut out and the CEO knows that he is supposed to implement, I think we won't have these problems we're having.
And Bright, briefly before I take leave of you, in terms of the composition of Nane Amponsah's management, I mean, what names are you hearing?
Well, Brother PJ as a communications manager, we've heard Kwian Kansa, who's going to be the legal, head of legal affairs. We've had David Obing, who will also be with the management. In fact, I tried asking Nane Amponsah about some these things through one of my reporters, and he's saying that all the names that are coming out, there's only one that is true. And you ask, they will say, well, they won't tell you. So these are the names you are gathering. That's what I'm saying. Information from Asante is very scanty, and that should be a point of concern for a club as huge as Asante Kotoko, because they should rather be directing the communication that comes out of the club. If there is no communication from the club, you give way for a lot of speculation and rumor mongering. And when that goes down very well with the supporters, it becomes very difficult to change it. Because for those of us who've done a little PR, we know that when institutions direct the kind of communication that comes from them, the communication that surrounds the organization, it helps the organization one way or the other to control it. But when other people are supposed to be, speculating and all those things, how do you control that? So Kotoko needs to be up and working. The rumor mongering is too much.
Yeah, but how soon do you think they will announce the management?
Benedict, that announcement was supposed to be done yesterday. You understand that because of that little impasse between some board members and the CEO and the board chairman, it had to be postponed.
Okay.
So we are hoping that within the week it will come. But clearly the board chairman, and if you know the board chairman, I mean, if you know him very well, even from afar, you'll be able to tell that this is a man who loves the club. He's willing to spend anything on the club. But he always, when people spend, they want to be in control.
Yeah, exactly.
No doubt about that. And this is a man who decided to dash out 8 million Ghana cedi he had spent on the club, just to the club. So you tend to have that kind of feeling of losing control when you feel other people are in, and
exactly.
And I know somebody like Dr. Gofia Mwaba, I know some of the board members are not happy with his tweets and all that, because if something happens, the club is supposed to officially announce. But when you tweet it on your personal Twitter handle, I don't know, but it is some way.
Yeah.
When at the point he was going to pay 2 months' salary of the Kotoko players, that were in arrears.
Yeah.
He tweeted that. When he decided to give vehicles, he tweeted that. When
and even the information of the setting up of the Kotoko TV as well.
Exactly. So those things, if you're a CEO, you definitely feel, come on, what is happening? Because the CEO is supposed to be running the day-to-day administration.
Yeah.
So you feel that, okay, this is what I want to do. And I know that Nane Amponsah intends using the Kotoko Express to announce some of these things, so that it will also creep up their profits and their patronage.
Okay.
So it's a huge thing coming from Asante Kotoko, and I'm just hoping that the Chief of Staff
All right.
We'll step in and solve this one.
Okay, Bright, thanks so much for your time this morning here on the show. So that was my colleague Bright Kankambodu from Kumasi with Pure FM speaking to us on the issues regarding Kumasi Asante Kotoko. So, in effect, all is not well at the club. Remember, they've confirmed their participation to play in the CAF Champions League this season. We'll see how that will go. But of course, we'll follow this story and bring you more in our subsequent, shows. Kumasi Asante Kotoko, as always, in the news. Well, we still have to do some more here on the local scene. And the Ghana Football Association has started the process of implementing the video assistant referee technology in domestic competitions. Now, currently, only a few African countries, namely Morocco, South Africa, and Egypt, they use VAR in their domestic competitions. Well, the Football Association they have been speaking to Alex Corte, who is a referee's manager. And of course, he says that FIFA, they are ready to support this course.
VAR is coming to Ghana. VAR will come to Ghana. You know, CAF and FIFA organized an online course for selected instructors in Africa. In fact, we were about 68. Two from Ghana, Emanuela Aglago, and then myself. FIFA is saying that the next 3 years, VAR must go to all member associations. And so member associations must begin to accept this concept and let it become part of our football. And let me say that FIFA is ready to support. The only thing the member association needs to do is to show commitment and the willingness to accept the VAR into our football. And when that is done, FIFA and CAF will give you all the necessary support that you actually need. Though we are going to bring VAR, we also need to work on our referees. We just want everybody to catch the euphoria that VAR will soon come to Ghana with the support of the Ghana Football Association.
All right, so that was Alex Corte, who is, referees manager at the Ghana Football Association, speaking about their quest to bring VAR here in Ghana. So we'll see how that will go. A lot's been happening here on the local scene, but as I mentioned, this is Playmakers here on MX24, and as always, every Saturday from 8 a.m. To 9 a.m. when you join us, we'll speak about, we actually will preview the major European leagues with specific attention on the English Premier League. And as the Premier League is starting this weekend, a lot to talk about. Chelsea have signed how many players? Some key players, £200 million they spent. Liverpool, the defending champions, they have to sign a top player. They've already signed one player. You know, there are still talks on whether they'll bring in Thiago Alcantara from Bayern Munich or not. We'll see how that will go. Plus, Manchester United, Van de Beek is also in, as I've already talked about Chelsea. Manchester City have signed some players. Can they wrestle the title back from Liverpool? Or can Liverpool defend the title? Some good business have gone on at Everton. And we also will look at the Ghanaian interest in the English Premier League. Some Ghanaian players in Jordan Ayew with Crystal Palace. Now we have Mohamed Salisu, who has joined Southampton from the Spanish League, Royal Valladolid. That's where he played his club football last season. Now he's with Southampton. Christian Achu, will he get playing time at Newcastle United? Daniel Amate is back, and it was a delight seeing Amate play in a game that was last week, which he scored for Leicester City. Jeffrey Schlupp also with Crystal Palace. Andrew Ayew is in the championship. We'll touch a bit about that as well. And then when we go to Spain, of course, Lionel Messi is back at Barca after, that I am leaving, I am back. We'll see how that will go. Well, join me in the studio is Kofi Esichire, of course, in a Liverpool jersey, and you need not to be told he's a Liverpool fan. Kofi, how are you?
Charlie, I'm great. How are you too?
Well, I'm doing fine.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. But in Manchester...
Fan. Why are you in the city?
No, I have a soft spot for Manchester City.
No, you've always had a soft spot for Pep Guardiola.
Yeah. Pep Guardiola is my manager. Pep Guardiola and your
big club.
Oh, no, club is also my manager.
So on a scale of preference. On a scale of preference.
Okay, I think I like Guardiola more than club.
Oh, really?
Yeah, of course.
You're giving up on judging club?
No, I love Liverpool. I love Klopp, but Guardiola is
I'm
my
disappointed,
man.
highly disappointed.
Don't be. But we'll talk about the
That's fine.
the Premier League. You know, the signings, what your club Liverpool you are doing, and if you can defend the English Premier League title. We'll look at Manchester City as well, and then Lionel Messi. But let's touch a bit on the local issues. I mean, Kumasi Asante Kotoko, they've been in the news throughout the week. Nana Amponsa, you know, since he was appointed as CEO of the club, there've been issues. He's certainly not happy with how things are being run, especially at the board level. I mean, this is uncalled for. Asante Kotoko at this point shouldn't be. There shouldn't be issues of this nature.
One interesting thing is Kotoko wants to go to Africa. He really wants to represent Ghana in Africa, and this is not the right time to have issues, board wranglings, in and out there. And then Nanaya Amponsa is almost like a new person in there. And you know, when a new person walks into any establishment, he's expected to be given all the necessary accoutrements to be able to work effectively. And this ongoing has really would put brakes on his plans or his blueprints he wants to put in there. It's really frustrating for him. But then you look at the Kotoko setup itself, and you feel that even before Nanaya Amponsa came in, there were a lot of wranglings, there were a lot of chaos, there were a lot of backroom, you know, fights, and it's going to really take a lot of effort right from the top. And I feel this is the time His Royal Majesty Otunfo himself has to come down and intervene. Else, nobody knows where Asante Kotoko would end up in through their boardroom wrangling.
And as Bright mentioned, we've not even started a league.
Absolutely, the league isn't even in session, and all this is happening.
And we haven't even started a campaign for Africa as well.
One of the interesting things you look at is when these things are going on, you look at player welfare.
Yeah.
Who's supposed to manage player welfare? Who's supposed to be in charge of players and all that thing? And you know, players become should I say frustrated because they don't know where the next step is. They don't know who is coming in to who they are focused on. Players love to know that, okay, this is the one we are looking at. This is the one leading us. This is the one.
Yeah, I mean, not to cut you, because in a situation where the CEO must do certain things, and then you have the board also going back.
You know, we've seen this thing.
The CEO is responsible for the day-to-day running of the club, not the board.
Not the
board.
board.
I mean, he reports to the board.
Absolutely. That's formally that's how it's supposed to be. Hierarchically, the CEO reports to the board. But where the board steps in and wants to run on day-to-day basis, then there's always a conflict of interest, or there's always a way of demeaning the CEO's role, and it's quite unfortunate. We've seen that happen at other clubs before, which didn't go too well, and we know how bad they fared. So Asante Kotoko should rather learn a cue from this and then quickly put their houses in order. Of course, they would have to represent Ghana in Africa.
Yeah, and of course, I mean, if you bring in a CEO and you don't allow him to work, then why did you bring him in?
Absolutely, in the first place. And this looks like a young chap who really wants to work for Asante Kotoko. He has the club at heart. You can always, I always see in his dressing that this guy really has imbibed himself in the Kotoko way. This is somebody who really wants to do something for Kotoko. And I think he has some brilliant ideas, and they should really, really give him the chance to work.
All right, so you're still here on Playmakers on MX24 with me, Benedict Owusu. My guest in the studio is Kofi Esichire. Kofi, VR in Ghana, is it feasible in the next 2 or 3 years?
VR has come to stay. I don't think there should be.
We all know it has come to stay, but here in Ghana, is it?
It will take time. Let's just be honest with ourselves. It's going to take time. But I knew at a point in time it was going to come here because every federation, one way or the other, would have to accept it and implement it.
It's already in Africa, actually.
Morocco is doing it. South Africa is doing it. I think
South
even
Africa,
Egypt is doing it.
Egypt is also
so yes, it's not too far-fetched from us to do it. We also can't do it, but it will take time.
You know, VR will work at Beijing Park.
That's a huge ask, and it has to. You know, we don't have to look at it like it's Bechem, it's Doma. So how are we going to do like no? Aside Accra Sports Stadium, aside Kumasi Babaya Stadium, aside even the Cape Coast or Tamale Stadium, it should work everywhere. Everywhere Premier League is played. That is the top division. That's our top flight. It has to work, even if it has to get into the first divisions. Why not? Because VAR has come to stay, and we have to find a way of implementing it. I was listening to Gio Lamte, referee Lamte, and he was making mention of
referee
Quality House was going to make mention of how we are going to put proper measures in place for the VAR to work. And yeah, they are the stakeholders. They are the front runners of that. They have to make sure that it comes into play. As to whether the referees here are prepared for it, it's a different thing. As to whether club officials or club owners or even clubs as a whole are prepared for it, it's also a different ballgame. But the education has to go on, and they have to accept it. All
right, so VR has come to stay, and they've started the process of implementing here in Ghana. As you heard from Referee Kote, who is a referees manager at the Ghana Football Association. We'll see how that will go. But well, it's work in progress, and we'll see if truly it can't happen here. As Kofi mentioned, and as I noted earlier, it's already here in some African countries, North Africa, for instance, Egypt, Morocco, and then when you come to the southern part of the continent, South Africa also currently are using VAR. So now we see how that will also go here in Ghana. And it will be so interesting, especially watching Accra Heartfolk, Accra Great Olympics at the Accra Stadium, and there's an issue. And you have to go and check on the VAR.
It's high time player discipline comes into question here. Would they be willing? And it's not about they being even willing. They would have to accept it. Come on, these players watch the European leagues, they watch the bigger leagues out there, and they see how the things are done. And they would always have to accept that one way or the other. I've always advocated that football shouldn't be perfect. The near misses, the nerve-wracking, that 11mm Liverpool lost. These are the things that make the game beautiful. Yes, FIFA is trying to make sure there is fairness in the game, which we all want to understand. But players would always have to accept these things that it will come. One issue is, we don't have the logistics here currently. We don't have the technical know-how fully. But when people, and it's going to create even employment for other people. I don't think all the referees are properly or adequately prepared for this. So it would create enough opportunity or employment for others to come on board and then help push this thing up there. I
mean, it's a process that they've started. Referee Cote, as well as one other referee, they were involved in a FIFA seminar recently to educate them on the VAR. I think that is very important we get it here. I mean, yes, we will talk about logistics and all, but as FIFA and CAF, they've already mentioned that they will help Ghana go through this course. And so definitely will be a success.
If you go through the FIFA website, the rules are clearly stated. Even as we watch games, we one way or the other seem to understand the implementation of the VAR more. So I'm sure even by now, most of our local league players who are fans of almost every club out there know how the VAR operates. So it shouldn't be too much of a task or difficulty trying to imbibe yourself into.
I mean, they know, but the fans as well.
The fans, yes. I don't think fans will start going to stadium anytime, like in their numbers. Yes, there are plans for fans to start coming in bits, but in batches. But
not here in Ghana. In Ghana, started. In Ghana, we've not even announced when the football is coming back.
I think the VAR thing would have to be started gradually, and then we ease fans into the stadium. And before they come, they'll be watching games from homes. They'll be watching. Courtesy some few TV channels, we get the Premier League to watch on TV. So you watch these things, you see how the VAR works, and before you get into the stadium, you would already be accustomed to it.
So you're still here on Playmakers on the MX24. We are streaming live on our Facebook page. So in case you are watching us at home and you have to leave the house and go somewhere, don't worry. You can sit in your car and still, watch the show live on Facebook. I'm Benedict Owusu. In the studio with me is Kofi Esitre. Well, we've been doing a lot about the local stuff. We've talked about Kumasi Asante Kotoko earlier. You heard from Bright Kankan Buedu in Kumasi, and then you also heard from referee Alex Cote, who is referees manager at the Ghana Football Association, speaking to us about the implementation of VAR here in Ghana. This week, we also had the issue of the YEA, paying the women's teams their first stipend, the 500 cedis, and that was announced even before COVID that they were trying to see how they will help the women's teams, and then COVID came through and they decided that 500 out of the players that play for the women's teams are going to get 500 cedis every month for the next 6 months. And they started. It's a very laudable thing that we have to, laud the YEA and also the Football Association.
Absolutely, Benedict. I think it's a step in the right direction once again. I think our female football setup, hasn't been something good to write home about. The Queens used even to give us more glory than the men at some point, or our female teams used to give us glory at some point, and I feel they haven't been well treated. Obviously, you cannot bridge or you cannot compare the sponsorships or the golfing difference between the male and the female, but the female really need attention, and I think it's a step in the right direction. Some of them, redundancy. I was listening to the Black Queens coach. She made mention of how her players, seem to grow fat, some take pregnancy when there's redundancy or when there's too much break in football, and it is true. You go to the likes of the areas where most of these female footballers live, and there's not much they can do for themselves aside playing football. This is what they love to do. This is their trade. So they need cushioning. They need money to live. And then for me, it's a very good thing from the NEA, the YEA. they can
The
come
youth
in.
employment agency.
Exactly, they can come in and support this female players. It will go a long way to boost their confidence. You know, it will go a long way to motivate them to come out there and yes.
We'll talk more about women's football because I mean it was this week that last week rather that Brazil and England announced that
bridge the gap between
in terms of salaries and bonuses. We'll talk more about that, but we have to go for a short commercial break. When we come back, we'll do a bit of the local and then we'll zoom to the international scene where we'll talk about the English Premier League and Lionel Messi. Stay tuned, don't go away. Well, welcome from that break. You're still here on MX24. It's Playmakers with me, Benedict Owusu. It's a maiden edition here on this channel. And as I mentioned, you can join us every Saturday from 8 a.m. To 9 a.m. We look at the big previews and also we'll talk about the trending issues, get your views and comments as well. And in the course of the program, we'll show you how to do that. Well, we have to quickly switch and check what's going to happen this weekend in the English Premier League, and the fixtures will be on your screen. Fulham will take on Arsenal. So Fulham will take on Arsenal. That's the early kickoff. Tottenham Hotspur, Everton is happening tomorrow. So there you go. 4 matches today. Fulham, Arsenal is the early kickoff, and then we'll have Crystal Palace. Jordan Ayew, Crystal Palace will come up against Southampton. So 3 Ghanaians actually in that game. Crystal Palace, Jeffrey Schlupp, Jordan Ayew, and then Southampton, Mohamed Salisu will see if he will make his Premier League debut and his debut for Southampton as well. Liverpool, the defending champions, are up against Leeds United. They won the English Championship, and well, we'll talk about their manager, Marcelo Bielsa, who has signed a new 1-year contract at the side. And when West Ham United will take on Newcastle United, that's the late kickoff. And then on Sunday, 2 games: West Bromwich Albion, Leicester City, Tottenham Hotspur, Everton. And on Monday, 2 games as well: Sheffield United, Wolverhampton Wanderers, and Brighton will take on the new look Chelsea under Frank Lampard. Great matches to look forward to. And of course, the top liner this weekend for me is Liverpool Leeds United. And in terms of the preview, well, Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta has been speaking. What has he been saying? Let's check this out.
Well, I think it's. I think the team is a good reflection from their coach. A very thorough person, a very committed team, a very clear way of playing. He's done a fantastic job at Fulham. The way they managed to get promoted last season, it was really good. So yeah, we've been watching them. We know it's a very typical stadium, really tight. It will be tough tomorrow.
My guests are ready. Let's quickly go through Eustace, the new addition to the team. Charlie, welcome.
Thank you, Benedict.
You're looking great. It's
been
a while.
Thank you. Yeah. Haven't been around for a while. Just checking on 1 or 2 things.
And Eustace is a Manchester United fan.
All day.
All day.
All
Charlie,
day,
when is
day.
COVID did what?
No, COVID didn't do anything. COVID actually brought out the best in us.
You've been hiding.
I was behind the scenes with Oli. You understand?
Do you want?
Yeah, we had to put things together. You
But
just
so
need
far-
a centre forward.
but
The
so-
team is set.
But you don't really
So far,
have
you've
20 goals first.
You've been able to bring in Van de Beek. What's happening with Jadon Sancho? All this while Jadon Sancho, but still nothing.
Because of the history of the club Manchester United. When people are dealing with us, when people are dealing with Manchester United, they tend to raise the prices. Sancho would have been a done deal in Fergie's time so easily by far. But for now, they are just playing hardball. I personally, I don't feel Sancho is a priority.
Okay.
He's a luxury to me. I think primarily we need a proven number 9, a proven centre forward.
But you already have a.
You have Igalo.
It's not even about Igalo. Rashford
Martial
is there.
is
Martial
not
is also
a number 9. Martial is not a number. They are makeshift number 9s. We need a Lewandowski, Luis Suarez kind of striker. Ilicic, somebody who has the basic responsibility of getting us 30 goals. We are really lacking in that department. You see our last 2 matches, we missed over 40 chances because nobody could just put the ball in the net, and we can't hold anybody responsible.
But what do you make of your new signing, Van de Beek?
Van de Beek is fantastic. I mean, it brings competition to the midfield department of the game, and actually that's where we need the competition, because the engine room has to be solid. You put Paul Pogba and all the central midfielders under some good pressure, and it's healthy competition for me. No problems there at all. It's a fantastic signing by our standards.
What kind of start do you wish for your team, Man United?
Well, looking at the quality of opposition around us, I mean, even if you are looking at it from a neutral perspective, you want all the big teams to fire all guns blazing from the very, very beginning. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be, I'm sure some coaches will go along the way, but Manchester United need to be up there. They need to be, when the sprint gets off, they need to be in there, be competitive. We need a complete team. We need squad depth. We need the team to be buzzing, you know, like the United of old. It's going to happen, definitely. I mean, if we find 1 or 2 strikers and secure the left back position as well, it's going to be a wonderful season. I mean, I know everybody is writing United off. They think the glory days are over, but trust me, the best is yet to come.
And talk of Arsenal, we yesterday I heard on the BBC that Aubameyang is on the verge of signing a new 3-year deal. That's very good for them if he stays.
Huge relief for Arsenal, because
it's like a new signing.
Obviously, like a new signing, but then again, he's been their go-to man for the past 2 seasons. He's been phenomenal. I don't think anybody has outscored him since he's made his debut in the Premier League. That speaks volumes of what he brings into the team. And they take Aubameyang out of the Arsenal team, and then they'll just be an ordinary side. Losing him was going to be a huge blow to Arsenal. And I think Arteta has found a way of making Arsenal play again. He's found a way of energizing the dressing room. He's found a way of making the dressing room lively again. Everybody seems to be happy all of a sudden. And even Ozil, who doesn't find himself in the team, seems to be happy currently with Arsenal. And it's good days for Arsenal. I think squad depth, quality-wise, they may not be up there yet with the big boys fighting for top 4, but then they will give everybody, if Aubameyang in the team alone is a huge boost to give them a good run in this coming season.
And this how crucial was winning the FA Cup and the Community Shield to getting Aubameyang to stay.
Of course, it did turn to their confidence and then the belief that Arsenal is still a big club. There's so much history in that club. They needed it. They needed a boost because they didn't make the top 4. They needed that confidence booster. And with a new manager setting a new project in play, I think they are yet to bring their very best out of them. Unai Emery it started well, but I mean, he lost it along the way. And this time around, Arteta has a firm grip on the dressing room. Yeah. He has a firm grip on the system he wants them to play. He's quite emphatic about it. So you see players like the likes of David Luiz and the rest coming to form under such a manager. You know, the prospect for Arsenal, especially this season, is very, very huge. I believe strongly that they will be up there. One of the major surprises, I think they'll have a top 4 finish. I think Arsenal is going to surprise them because the manager has a lot of ambition. Make no mistake about it, the EPL is very, very competitive, and you have the top 6 sides having top coaches, even the likes of Everton. Yeah. So it's a top 4, yes, may not be enough for them per their history and what they've achieved previously, but they'll have to start from somewhere. The remobilization of the team has to start. Their fans have been so bitter for so long. And I think this is the time they deserve a piece of the pie.
And already Arteta has won 2 titles for the side, the English FA Cup and the Community Shield. Well, forget about the Community Shield not being a title. He's won it. So head-to-head between Arsenal and Fulham on the screen. Okay, so we'll get that for you. Now, total wins for Fulham in their games, they've played 28. Total wins for Arsenal is 20. And total wins for Fulham is 3. Home wins, of course, is 3. And then for Arsenal is 10. Away, they've won 10. And away, no for Fulham. There are recent meetings also there on your screen. Arsenal 4-1, winning their very last game. Fulham lost 5-1, 2-0 in favour of Arsenal, 3-1 in favour of Arsenal. And then another win for Arsenal. So if you look at their last 6 games, it's all been Arsenal win. And this, of course, clearly tells you that Fulham do not stand a chance against Arsenal in this afternoon's game. Is this?
Benedict, I've always said that the EPL doesn't really respect a form guide or history for that matter. Arsenal always seem to bottle it when everybody expects them to deliver. It's a major trait on the team, you know. But I look at the quality available. I look at the preparations, obviously, Fulham have made coming into this season. Of course, they've reinforced. And the pressure for us now to deliver, I mean, owing to the fact that they know the level of opposition just around them. They know that if they slip, they may never have the chance to bite back. So I think all things being equal, it might not be a very entertaining game because I'm sure Fulham will set up very, very conservative. They'll defend, basically. And I don't know if Arsenal, with people like Aubameyang up front, Pepe and the likes, you expect them to find that extra bit of quality to slot in maybe a winner. It will be close. It will not be an avalanche as people expect. But I sincerely think Arsenal may just be able to nick the victory.
Kofi, where do you stand on this?
For me, I think Scott Parker has learned from the last time Fulham were in the Premier League. You know, when they came, they spent about £100 million on the players, and it backfired seriously. Looking at how they've cooped around this transfer window. They've tried to be smart. They've tried to do things on the low, but they've kept the core of the team that brought them back into the Premiership, and they've tried to add a bit of experience in there. For me, against Arsenal, that's a London derby. It's always going to be a very, you know how London derbies go about. It's quite difficult, it's quite cagey. And unfortunately, there are not going to be fans in the stadium, which is a minus for the league. But we can expect some quality. Arsenal have enough quality. I think I feel this season we're going to see the best of Pepe for Arsenal. He had to take a couple of years to settle, and I think we'll see the best of Pepe this year at Arsenal. So
Fulham Arsenal is the early kickoff this weekend in the English Premier League, the start of a new season. Well, now let's talk about the defending champions, Liverpool. Their manager Jurgen Klopp says winning the league is the biggest problem you can ever face as a manager. He did that last season, won the UEFA Champions League. Now the question is, can they keep that consistency? How many points in 2 seasons? Over 180 points. Is it possible? 197. Is it possible for Liverpool to reach another, milestone this season? Can they actually defend the title? That's a big question. First of all, let's take a listen to Jurgen Klopp. We'll come back and do the analysis.
Completely recovered from whatever, so on a professional basis, and my boys as well. So all together was obviously a challenge for all of us, and the break we had was not a break because it was very intense mentally and all these kind of things, and then we played a lot of games in a pretty short period, and then we had a short break and came back. So, but that's we are now pretty much in our normal rhythm. For the moment at least, that will change in the next few weeks, obviously, because then we play. It feels like more often than we have the opportunity to train, but that's okay because pretty much everybody has to do it. At least the teams who are in Europe as well, and the teams who have international players for them, it's all the same. So it's being champion is the best. So winning the league last year is actually the best problem you can have, to be honest. Yes, it's if it's a problem, I don't know even, but everybody gives me the feeling that it should be a problem. So because anybody else wants, or everybody else wants to become champion as well, that's no news to me. So I knew that before, and so we just give it a try again, and we know we will face incredibly strong teams, and it's all about.
So Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp speaking ahead of their game this weekend. They're up against Leeds United, champions of the English Championship. Now, Kofi, can you defend the title?
It's a huge one. it's really a huge one.
Can you defend? Yes or no?
Yes, Liverpool can defend it. I believe they can. I believe they can.
What must they do to defend the title?
I really like Klopp's end of season remarks. He said, we're not going to defend the title, but we're going to attack it. It's going to be a fresh start. The league was won last year. It wasn't won this year. So we go again. Now, it's easier to get up there, but maintaining that, it's quite difficult. He said it was easy finding a target, but it's not difficult being the target. Now everybody wants to reach you. Everybody wants to have to beat you to get up there. So yes, I look at Chelsea and I feel that they'll need time to gel. I think it's common knowledge, everybody knows they'll need time to gel. Looking at the avalanche of players they brought in there, Manchester have brought in Fernando Torres and Nathan Ake, who would now have to find a way of partnering Laporte at the back there and finding tune for Fernando Torres in the team. It was also going to be a transition process. Mind you, City still have a core of their team.
Yeah.
You look at United, who for me were the form side getting to the tail end of the season,
Yeah.
were very, very good. I think if they can only kick start from where they left off last season, it will be very great for the league. For me, Everton is also doing a lot of signings, but Liverpool have kept this team for the third season running. This is the team that won 97 points and missing the league agonizingly. The team that went again and won it. So keeping the same team, he didn't disrupt the team dressing room harmony. You've kept them together, trying to add a bit of to which he hasn't done yet. And I feel that yes, there'll be hunger in the team again, and we go again for this season.
All right, we need to take a quick break. Right? When we come back, you hear from Eustace, and then we'll finish up with the English Premier League and then quickly talk about Lionel Messi. Don't go away. This is Playmakers here on MX24. All right, so welcome back from that quick break, and you're still here on MX24. It's Playmakers with me, Benedict Owusu, the maiden edition, and we are looking at the English Premier League. So we were talking about Liverpool before we went for that quick break, and of course, they are the defending champions of this season's English Premier League. Before we continue, let me read some of your comments on our Facebook wall. This one is coming from Edikoju Setre, and it says, I'm tipping Chelsea to really compete this season for the Premier League trophy. Lampard has shown he's hungry for success. Also, Eddie Kujo writes, Tottenham versus Everton will be a match to watch. Stakes are high, might end in a draw. So a bit of clue there for the investors out there. Arsenal will surprise everyone this season. That's coming from Nana Asempa Crunchy. And then Kluche Eugene also writes, Arsenal need squad depth. They need quality on the bench as well. And then Frank Buedi says, good morning, guys. Watching you from Ablikuma. Keep the good work. Love you all. Thanks so much for your comments. So you can also head to our Facebook page. That's MX24GHM. Put your comments there. We're also live on Twitter as well. Well, Kofi was talking about how Liverpool will defend this season's Premier League title. They've not really signed any top player. They're looking at Alcantara. He has still not come in. You think that is a good situation for a defending Premier League team to keep the core of the team going into a new season, or you think they still have some time to bring in one or two new boys?
Benedict, championship winning team, a team that has just won the Premier League or the Champions League, they are the defending champions for that matter, don't need a lot of, it's almost a perfect team. They don't need a lot of additions. I'm sure there are other French players who would rather be unhappy, who will be want away. Yeah. I see the situation with Gino Wijnaldum. You could see that he wants to leave. Sometimes the motivation is just not there, or the competition for, but the team has already proven that they are a set unit. They are fit to lift championships, and an addition of one or two won't be disastrous. It won't ruin anything, but also it's not a major priority. I don't think first and foremost they need to reinforce anything. There may be one or two weak links. They may need some good substitutes on the bench, but I like the way Jurgen Klopp has handled himself in the transfer market. He wants Alcantara. At the right price, he will get him. He's not going to break the bank, because I think the owners have made him aware that there's not much to spend. He's always worked within a tight budget. He's always, I mean, when he needed to spend big, he was backed. He got Virgil van Dijk for over 70 million. Alisson Becker. So it's not about him not receiving the backing of the board or the transfer market not being favorable to him. He has a good team. Everybody expects him. You've done it before. Can you do it again? People are reinforcing. Maybe we'll get you one or two. But really, there's no pressure for Liverpool to reinforce this team. It's a solid, proven unit. They've actually won championships. They've shown the whole world that they are the best. I mean, in almost
But
everything.
defending the title will not come easy.
Of course, it won't come easy.
They won't have it as they did last season.
Yeah.
With that huge gap.
Well, like everybody has always said, getting to the top is not the problem. The maintenance, maintaining consistency. I remember Alex Ferguson once saying in an interview that he was asked how he always keeps his teams at the top, and he said, because I always prepare as if I'm number 2. So exactly, I see with Klopp's comments, you can see he has the same mentality. He's not looking to be complacent. He's going to go out there, pump the boys up, give them the vibe for every match to fight. they play heavy metal football. They play like they are warriors, and he wants to keep that kind of mentality going. I mean, they're a good team because they've won the championship, but they can be great if they can maintain the consistency. Everybody knows how difficult the EPL is to defend. So I think they'll give it a really good shot. They'll give everybody else a good run for their money if they are to defend.
And your opening 3 games,
One thing we forget is that Liverpool didn't sign any player last season. Going to last when everybody was signing, people thought, no, what are you doing? You're not signing any player. But they went in and improved that. Yes, we still have our core, and they won the league. This time around, I feel it's almost around the same thing. They don't feel there's a necessity. Ask yourself, let's be honest with ourselves. Which player would Liverpool buy currently who's readily available on the market and walk straight into the starting lineup? It's going to be quite difficult. So yes, Klopp is trying to do the smartest thing. Alcantara maybe might come. He will not break the bank for him. Like you just said, I feel, yes, that's the truth. But this is a player who would virtually go for free in 4 months' time, in January. So why break the bank and pay over 20 million odds for him? And it doesn't make sense.
So, and of course, we talked about how defending the championship will be difficult. But your first 3 games will not come easy. You play Leeds United. And for those of you that do not know Leeds United, they won the English Championship and they have one of the best managers in the world, Marcelo Bielsa. He has signed a 1-year deal to stay at the club. It will come very tough this afternoon for Liverpool.
It will. But since the club has worked in his first 5 openings has always gone in his favour. He's won 4 and drawn 1. And I think last time Liverpool dropped points in an opening game of the season was against Watford. They are very good at starting the season. And this is the second time running that they are starting with a promoted team. And things look good for Liverpool for me at the start of the season. 59 games unbeaten at Anfield. It wouldn't be. This is not the time to go back to that or rewrite that. Yeah.
We are behind time, so we'll quickly wrap up. But I mean, after Leeds United, they go to Chelsea and then Arsenal. These games can define their season.
Yeah, it's going to be crucial, these first 3 games, because if you get behind in the pecking order, it's going to be very, very difficult to get back. So they know how crucial it is, especially the Leeds game. There's no room for error. They must get those 3 points. And then maybe if they're able to draw one of the first 3 games, I think it won't be a bad position because they are defending champions. Everybody will prepare well against them. They will set up very, very difficult against Liverpool. It's going to be very, very tight for them. Right, but it's crucial.
Let's quickly wrap up on the English Premier League and then talk briefly about our numbers before we call it a show. Now, Manchester City, where did they stand this season? Can they challenge for the title? Of course, they will challenge for the title, but will they be able to capture the title from them?
It'll be very difficult to write them off. This is probably the second best team in England, along with Liverpool. They are miles ahead of the rest, and they have also kept the core of their team. They're rather doing additions. They've added Fernando Torres for 20 million pounds, and then Nathan Ake. City have had issues with their defense, and this is the time they brought an Ake who's an experience in the Premier League to partner Laporte. If Laporte can stay off injuries, then they'll give Liverpool a run for their money.
Okay, we all agree that Liverpool, Manchester City will be the top 2. Which other teams are joining them in the top 4?
Manchester United should be in. Definitely
Manchester United.
And I'll have to favour Arsenal to get the 4th slot. They'll surprise everybody.
So Manchester, so Liverpool
just missed
So
out.
who wins it? Who wins it for you?
Liverpool defensive.
Liverpool defensive.
As much as it hurts
Manchester
me to say
City
that,
second,
but I think
and then
Liverpool
Manchester
will
United third, and then Chelsea 4th. Kofi?
I think I would go for Liverpool to defend the title. City comes second. I see it to be a 3-point difference this time around. City comes second.
Wow, then that'll be very tight.
Yeah, City comes second. As for me, Chelsea, with the signings they've made, I think they'll do well in the second round of the season. Chelsea comes third and United fourth for me.
Okay, I go for Manchester City, Liverpool second, Chelsea third, and then Arsenal 4th. Wow. No Manchester United. No, Arsenal 4th for me. But
it's the Premier League. You know
this is a Premier League. Anything can change. Maybe after 3 weeks I'll revise. After 4 weeks I'll revise my list.
Ole has this tendency of switching off in the season. You know, his beginnings are not too good.
Exactly.
He does well until end of the season. Let's hope he can start all this time around.
Okay, so briefly let's talk about Lionel Messi. He said I was leaving. I am back. How is he able to play in a favour of Barcelona this season in the Spanish La Liga?
Well, I think Barcelona is actually, as a club, they're actually just delaying the inevitable. It's going to happen. Lionel Messi is going to leave. They just weren't prepared for it because they didn't have it in their wildest dreams to hear him say that. But obviously, he's unhappy about the way other players are being treated, and he's made known his
friends.
Yes. Friends, colleagues, teammates.
His best pal Suarez is leaving.
Yes, because he's not wanted. But it's not the choice of the manager asking the player to leave, but it's the way they were treated. That's what made him unhappy. Messi has always had Barca by the whiskers. Everybody knows that, you know, he has a very, very big amount of influence. So, I mean, looking at the situation, they need him to stay for 1 year. And he said he's going to stay for 1 year and he's going to walk out. It's going to happen. He needs to challenge himself somewhere.
Yeah, of course.
No matter no matter how good you are. I mean, with age, like you're saying, with age, injuries are much harder to recover from. Fatigue, the pace goes down. He needs a bit of quality. He doesn't have the Xavis and the Iniestas around him this time. So, obviously, you know, no matter how good you are. When Maradona was in Napoli, it was the same thing. He asked the club to buy other players to
all right. Could you briefly on Messi?
I think Messi would have to be professional to stay for that 1 year. As to whether he would give off his best, I feel yes he will.
Yeah, he definitely will.
That, yes. And he would love to leave on a high, maybe win them a title or something before he leaves. And
Messi is a legend. He's
already said
best player in the history of the club.
It will be very difficult for him to walk away from the club on bad terms. He would want to leave on a high, and the club knows that. Yes, come summer 2021, Messi will be walking out of the club, and what a way it will be if he leaves on a high.
Well, we'll see how that will start. If
a bumper deal somewhere along the line.
And I feel his father has hit the end, and then there's no way back.
I mean, a very good way to end, you know, that issue of him leaving, him staying.
Yeah, but it's good for him. He has to challenge himself also. We've seen Cristiano Ronaldo has been criticized a lot.
Exactly, that's what Messi wants to do.
He challenged himself. He moved to
Charlie, it gets to a time you have to challenge yourself, and that's what we're all doing. Is that what you're doing?
Exactly.
All right, okay, so we have to quickly read some comments before we take leave of you. But it's been fun, it's been great, and you can always join our fantasy. That's our fantasy league. All you have to do is sign up on fantasy.premierleague.com. Choose your team. When done, go to league, select private, and enter the code. The code is UJIZPV. I hope you got that one. It will be on your screen, so you get that. The name of the league is MX24 Fantasy League. MX24 Fantasy League, and players will be rewarded at the end of every month. We'll do that, and just some few comments. Hoping my team Arsenal gets what we deserve with our new manager. That's coming from Robert Womega. And perhaps we see Chelsea. I think Chelsea's new signings need time to gel. So Chelsea fans should not give them pressure. The pressure it has started coming on, Charlie. You have no idea what will happen if we start and you guys are losing. Kluche Eugene, there's quality, please. We don't need any more debt. We are winning the league. Thanks for your advice. Hey, Charlie, Arsenal are winning the league. Okay, we'll see how that will go. But remember, tomorrow there's another big show here at exactly 8 p.m. of the cuff. Comes your way here on MX24, and that's you have to join Eloy Amande. Eloy Amande and you know, top football pundits will be here to discuss everything local and also international, English Premier League and everything that we've talked about. The review of the Playmakers will be here tomorrow at exactly 8 p.m. You have to make a date with Eloy Amande and the team. Thanks so much to you, Kofi Esitre, and then Eustace Akwe. We'll definitely do this again. Of course, it's a maiden show, so if there's any blip, anything, you just have to pardon us. We'll come back stronger same time next week. My name is Benedict Owusu. Thanks so much for your company.